Welcome to another tutorial. Today we are going to make Fizz effect which I showed you in this video. For this we are going to use pop network or particles network. This is a very simple effect you can create very easily and some basic knowledge of Houdini should be needed. So let's get started. For this we are going to create a geometry, then name it your geometry like source or anything you want, and inside you can use any 3D object. I'm using this sphere. You can use your logo, text, model, anything, and just increase its frequency. I'm just changing the shape of this object, so let me just use another mountain node to give it some little rough shape. Okay, this looks good. Now we are going to create particles for this group. So for that we are going to use pop network. Connect this, open this one. Here you can see it has this particles are emitting. So select, come here and select this pop source and come to birth, and I'm going to use impulse activation, and at this I'm like just use 10,000 I think more than enough, or if you want more you can always increase this number. Okay, this is enough, and just use this number to only activate for single frame. So add $ff equal to 1, so it will activate only for frame 1. Okay, so if you play it will active for 1 frame. Now we need to add force to active these particles, so let me just use pop force, and in here let me just add some values. So it goes like this, and add some noise parameters, something like this. You can easily see it's making something interesting shape. Okay, now it's activating all the particles at the same time. We want these particles to be activated by some region or by some other object. So for this we need to add one pop group node. So add pop group node. It will help in selecting the particles. So let me just name this select, and for this we can use this bounding object, all this, but now we are going to use bounding object, and object source we should use like second contrast geometry. Come back here, and this second node should be your selection object. So for this let me just create another box or any sphere of random shape. Okay, you can use any object. So this is something like this, and let me just change this to polygon, and you can increase its shape, and if you want rough shape you can change this. And you can use different kind of mesh, yeah, noise pattern, whichever you like. Okay, it has like different parameters. Okay, so let me just add something like this. And next we are going to add transform node. And let me just template this object. So transfer this to some other like this, and just scale these values, and let me just go for 150 frames. So let's just scale this from 10th frame to up to, I think, 120 frame is more than enough. Just enough so that it covers all this object. Just add another key. So now it will move like this. Now add this to second network of this pop. Display this value, and in pop group we have already select second context, and to visualize here just add another pop group node or pop color node, and in pop color node there is this section group. Just activate this and select group name. Now you can see if I play this, these particles are becoming red. Or if I disable this pop force, then you can see exactly what's happening. See, now it's reaching up to its last values. So if this is not happening, so I think my geometry is not covering properly. Yeah, it's not covering. So we have transform nodes, so we can always adjust this a little bit. Now it's covering all the values. So come here. Now you can see it's covering all these red values. So now we have selected the particles. Now you can disable this color node and enable pop force node, and in group section activate this group and add select node. Now it will activate only on these particles. Okay, now you can see that it's activating all these particles. And for live, let's just come here, and here it is live section. So it needs to go for, I think, 4 by life variance is at least 1. So this is in seconds. So okay, now it's dissolving this into. If you want more upward force, you can always add more force value here, and you can always increase strength also. And if you want more strength of this, you can also increase this. So it's up to you how you want to like tweak these values. And after that you can come out here, and for particles, if you want to render 2 different nodes, the best option is to render geometry here and render these pop network in other geometry node. It will be easy to texture and apply shaders. So let me just use null object. This is particle, and one more here. This is your geometry. So just create another geometry node and name this particle, and just import that node by using object merge node, and you select this particle node. Now it will have here. Now you have two different separate nodes. If you are seeing any lines like this, you can go to pop network and increase its substep value, these substep values, so that it doesn't show these kind of line strips. See, now it doesn't have. Okay. I think 1.5 time scaling is good, is enough for this. Yeah. Now next part is to delete all these extra particles which are showing here. See, now you can see like we have both particles. So to delete other particles, just come here in object section and select delete node and go to point, and we have that select group. See, now deleting all that particles. We want opposite, so delete non-selected. So it will delete all the non-selected particles. So you have only these nodes. Now come to this for rendering purpose. So lot of guys, you have like trouble in rendering these effects in V-Ray and Arnold. So for this, let me show you in this mantra how to render this. So let me just save this file. Okay, now you can let me select some frame. Okay, so to render this in mantra, this is very simple. For these two network, let me just use material, and there you have all these material presets. You can always use this. It will give you best results and with least amount of time. But to adjust this, it will take, mantra will take longer time to render, but it will give you effects if you don't know any other render engine. So let me just add something rock pattern. I think I have used rock for this, and for these bubbles I have used this I think basic liquid node. Okay, so come to object section, in this add material rock, and for these particles let me just add basic liquid, and to render it with the mantra you need to create mantra node, and for this let me just add one lighting, because without light it does not look good. So for light you have this above light section, so let me just add this area light. So my camera is at this point. So for lighting, just add an overhead light in front of camera so that bubbles will show much specular and all that. So let me just rotate this. And you can always increase size, so it is here. Don't increase too much size because we want sharp kind of effects. So just come here and camera and render. So it will take a little time to build this scene, and now it will show you the result. Okay, now you can see it has showing something, and let me add one more light, which is environment light. Okay, and I have used the light color is something like these kind of ocean dark with this kind of color, so that it resembles the lighting of underwater. See, and it has something like this. And for backdrop, I have used, I think, grid node to cover this back area. So just go for XY plane, and I think I have used like this. Something like this, and I placed it a little back to cover my camera area, and I have applied another image to this. So for this, let me just create one more material, this principal shader, and in surface, sorry, in texture, for base color use texture. So you can use any back texture node. So I have used, I think, some ocean underwater image. Let me check for that. I think I have used this one, and apply this to that grid. Okay, so now we can see okay, now it's showing something, but it's not showing accurately. So for this we need to use UV texture node to show it properly. So UV project node, so you can use UV XY. And just lower the lighting little bit. And for bubbles, it's showing very big. So in particles, go and just add attribute randomize node, this one, and in here just use p scale value and choose dimension 1, and just here you can add like 0.0 to 5 to I think 0.01, so it will show you some variation. And let me just lower the frame size. So now it will show you the results like exactly I have made. So this is one of the type you can use. And for instead of using, see, now you can see this, and this area light is not very strong, so let me just increase its exposure. See, now you can see it has some bubbles and all that pattern. So for this upper lighting, if it's showing like very strong, something like this, you can always come here and just change the size. Just it has to be in front of this, not at the front of raw, front of camera. See, now you can see. Then you can adjust for lighting and size of this. Okay, now it's showing a little better. So let me adjust for environment lighting, and if I want to check exact colors, so let me just go for exact colors. See, now you can see. And for area light, let me just lower this. This is too much, and you can always go for this. And for particles, I think these values are a little bit smaller, so let me just go for 0.1. No, I think 0.1 is too much, so I think this is more than enough. So it will have some harder values and some lower values. See, if you want like more random, you can always increase this, so it has some bigger bubbles, some small, and you can render out. And for motion blur, you can add this in post by using any compositing software, so it will show you that. Okay, so I think you're able to make this, and it is completely procedural. You can always change the tone or texture. If you want any text or any font, any logo, you can always create this. Okay, so I think this is enough for this tutorial, and you can always use your creativity to show some examples. So goodbye, and we'll meet in next tutorial. Thank you.